My father was a pilot in World War II, and after the war was still very interested in flying. And when I was about, oh gosh, probably 6 or 7, I'm thinking, he bought a very small 2-seat airplane, and this was kept at an airport down in Del Mar, California. And my first memory of flying was about that time. And the cockpit of this aircraft would slide back, so it would be sort of like a convertible. You could actually fly with, you know, the wind in your hair. And we were flying out over the Borrego Desert on a spring day where there were the cotton ball puffy clouds all through the sky. And flying through these clouds was such an intense experience for me, because I really felt like you could just literally walk out of the airplane on the wing and jump off onto one of these clouds and just be in this new special place. And I thought about flying and learning to fly ever since then. Moving into actually getting a pilot's license was somewhat complex, because I have no useful vision in one eye, and I was told inaccurately when I was a teenager that because of that I could never get a pilot's license. About 10 years later, when I was in my early mid-20s, I did a little bit of research and found out that indeed I could get a pilot's license, and I just had to go through some additional levels of testing to get the final certificate. And I started taking lessons, I think, the following week, and here we are 35 years later. I took up photography in my mid to late teens. I came home from college one winter vacation, and my younger brother was taking a class in black and white photography at the high school, and had turned one of the family bathrooms into a temporary darkroom. And I sort of said, "Robert, what the heck are you doing?" He goes, "Oh, I'm developing these prints. I'm developing these black and white prints." And I went in with him and saw what he was doing, and I'm just going, I gotta get into this thing. This is just too much fun. The photography and the flying was something that I dreamed about, I think, for forever. Every time I would go flying, whether it was with my father when I got older or just in a commercial airplane, I was just absolutely excited about that way of seeing, our landscape, our environment, our world. The experience of flying and taking photographs just never gets old. I mean, it's still just such a magical experience, and I can't remember the last time that I was in an airplane where I did not have a camera and was not taking photographs. I mean, I can't even imagine, to tell you the truth. I fly a Cessna 172. I own this Cessna 172, which is a small 4-seater, fairly simple airplane. It flies relatively slowly, so that makes it easier for me to do my photography. It has a window on the left seat, the pilot side, that I've taken a latch off of. So with the air pressure as you're flying, it will open this window, it's hinged in the top, open this window and hold it up against the bottom of the wing. So I have a portal about this big out of which I can photograph, so I have almost 180 degrees, but I do have a strut in part of that picture, so that does interfere sometimes with your compositions. The airplane is a very, very stable platform flying-wise, and so once you've got it trimmed for a turn or straight and level and your throttle set, it's going to stay exactly the way you leave it. And so if I'm, for instance, setting up a turn to get a photograph, or I do a 360, so I'm shooting a specific part of the landscape, I'll set it up in the turn, and the airplane's just going to keep doing it until you tell it not to. Every flight's an excuse to make more photographs and to explore perhaps up, someplace that may be not on the straight line trajectory. When I plan a flight locally, I'm usually looking at no more than 2 hours. I'm very fortunate to live where I do, because within an hour or two I can see some wonderful places and photograph some wonderful things. You have the Los Padres National Forest, you have the Carrizo Plain, and then you have the intercoastal range that goes up to San Francisco, which is basically untouched oak woodlands. The big mystery for me about what I'm looking for is I don't know what I'm looking for. I don't. It's almost as though I'm going, okay, show me. I'm going, okay, I'm going to put myself geographically here today in this flight, and let's just see what's there. A lot of my photography, I'm hoping, is illustrating the fact that we are living in a fluid, dynamic universe planet. I also have done a number of flights down to Baja California. The flights down to Baja California take me right along the delta of the Colorado River, which empties into the upper end of the Sea of Cortez, which is right in here. But the landscape of the delta is endlessly fascinating because of the changes that are occurring on a daily basis, on an annual basis, and even maybe more so given the fact that we're experiencing climate change and rising sea levels. The paintings that it presents are just completely mind-boggling and different every time you go down. The way that the landscape spreads out in front of you as you gain altitude, as you fly, it's as though you're actually adding, and maybe in some sense you're adding that missing dimension that you don't get from a ground-based perspective. When I get back, I'm going, oh gosh, I can't wait to show this and share this with people that don't have the ability to get up there and explore our landscapes from an airplane's perspective, from that aerial perspective. I can't explain to you what fun it is to be flying and taking photographs. I mean, there'll be times when I'm pretty much just shouting for joy in an airplane, as if I, am presented with something just spectacular, and I mean, it's overwhelmingly joyful.